Over the many years, I've had the honor to fish with some of the best, and what I appreciate about them is that they listen. They are patient, and in most cases, really enjoy the sport of fishing. Tonight, it's Ladies' Night here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Thanks for joining us on the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Brie Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy. And today is a special themed show, Rick, like you mentioned, exploring the world of ladies fishing as well as your normal weekend reports. Except this weekend is no ordinary weekend because we're fishing right through the 4th of July.
Absolutely. And you know, another reason why it's a special weekend, Brie, is because it's your 30th birthday.
I am 30, thirsty, and thriving. Oh my gosh, you did it to me too.
I got
That's
pictures. Look at that happy birthday with your crown, and look at some of the fish that you've caught in the last, in your 20s. And look what else happened in your 20s. You got married to that hot man, and you had that beautiful baby.
Oh, that's great.
I want you to know, as your sidekick, Brie, that the 30s are the best. You have a lot to really look forward to.
Well, so I'm excited.
It is the best time.
More fishing too.
Of course.
All right, well, this has to be one of my favorite holidays for one of those reasons, and I can't imagine spending it anywhere but on the water, hopefully catching fish. So let's say hi to Dave Farrell at the workbench, who will be giving us some July 4th fish catching tips. Am I right, Dave?
Yep, I'm glad my birthday's in October. You don't have to see me in my bikini.
That's a good
pictures
thing.
for my birthday.
That's a good thing. Well, maybe we'll sneak in there at the end of September there, Davey.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Why not?
In your bikini. All right, starting our weekend off with a bang is our Garmin Lower Coast Region Captain, Chad Kinney, who knows a thing or two when it comes to getting ladies onto the fishing scene. Talk to us, Chad.
Tell you what, the weather forecast looks great for the 4th of July, so I'm sure a lot of people are planning to go fishing, but calmer winds in the bay and great sea conditions. So it's going to be a great time to get out there, go to the beach, go fishing, all the above. And talking about the women angling, you're right. I've got a bunch. We've been doing it for years, and I've got 3 daughters, and so I've got a lot of experience in that stuff. So fishing offshore and in the bay systems really getting a lot more popular with the women. I see it here in the marina also and stuff like that, as far as clothing and a lot of the equipment and tackle, wading gear, everything going with it. A lot more of them are participating in angling every day and stuff on the weekends, and also a lot of tournaments and stuff is getting really, really popular. Like I said, coming from a dad who's got 3 girls, I got one that loves to offshore fish, the other one loves bay fishing, my little one just likes to go for the boat ride. So, so it's all the way through there. So it's a great way to spend time with your family, your parents, your wife, girlfriend out on the water. You can't beat it. It's a lot better. I can't think of anything better to do. So when you're fishing for the bay there, you can be fishing with your trout, reds, flounder, enjoy the scenery. You got birds, you got Mother Nature, you got everything else. When we're hitting the offshore angling, just the blue water itself is just great. But that whole deal is on the rise also with lady tournaments getting really big, like Ladies Kingfish Tournament. They got Babes on the Bay out of Port A. It's really, really big. And outfit the angler accordingly. We got a lot of stuff I've been seeing, like the Alvy Reels. We got a lot of ladies buying the 60, which is equivalent to like the 2,000 to 2,500. A little bit lighter in their wrist and angling, and paired up with a really good rod. They're really liking that to go in there. So speaking about the ladies, I got a picture here of Kyra Hudson and my wife Erica. We've been fishing this Ladies Kingfish Tournament for probably 10 to 15 years. It's an annual event for us. So it's pretty much like our vacation. So that's how big this stuff's getting.
Nice.
Moving over to the inshore stuff, getting to the fishing part. Corpus Christi Bay, I talked to Doug Stanford again. That trout bite's still really good. Live bait, redfish, been scattered off the ICW and around the jetties. With this better weather coming, though, this weekend should be really hot on the fishing and great to get out there. Like I said, there's plenty of trout in the Corpus Christi Bay area around the wellheads. Live croaker still working really good. Free line and live shrimp also there with it. We're going to do some plastics. Definitely go with a little bit heavier jig head in that deeper water. Some saltwater assassins work great. The easy limits of trout action around the wellheads. Doug was telling me, he said they're getting the trout early, and it gives you plenty of time to head out to the jetties when your conditions are favorable, which they're going to be this weekend. So you can do that. Put that on your list. There's been some redfish out there. There's been some black drum out there. There's been mackerel. There's been a few tarpon rolling. So you can take your whole arsenal, take some topwaters, take your soft plastics, get your topwater mirror lures out there and throw them in some tarpon bait balls podding up around there. And also the ICW's been spotty, but it's still holding some redfish along there with some cut bait on the bottom, such as mullet or mentate. You got a picture of another lady here with a good winning redfish from this past weekend for a tournament. It was the heaviest red for a slot red, up to 28 inches.
Nice.
Moving in the offshore, conditions for the 4th of July weekend, like I said, looks great. Snapper fishing remains open, both in state and federal waters. And the pelagics are really showing out up deeper at the 100 fathom curve and even out deeper to the floater rigs like Hoover, Diane, Nansen, stuff like that. So we'll start with the reef fish. The snapper fishing, like I said, it's been great in state and federal. It's really going to turn on this weekend because that water should clear up, the current should calm down, and then the blue water will start coming in. So what I would do is have some extra fun, take a lot of extra chum with you, throw a bunch of small pieces out. Even if you're in 150 foot of water or better, you get those fish up to 20, 30 feet below the surface, and basically you can just kind of hand pick ones you want out. Try like a 1 ounce eagle claw jig, feather that down through there, and start popping them. You can even get a smaller, like a 7/0 to 9/0 live circle hook from eagle claw there. Just bait it, kind of hide it with some squid and free line it. That snapper, you'll see them pick it up and take it, let them run 10 to 20 feet with it, and all you got to do is just click your lever over on the reel and just start reeling. That hook's going to set it right in the side of the mouth like it's designed to do. And also, with a good thing like that, if you're fishing at deep water, when those fish are up there like that, they're already done up there, so they're not going to get the bends. They're going to put a lot better fight. It's a lot of fun. I've even got it so where they get on such a crazy bite, you can get a mirror lure top dog out there and pitch a top dog and start walking a dog on top, and the snapper will blast it out of the water. When you got that going on, it's just an epic snapper bite, and that's about as fun as you can get on there. Moving over to the billfish, they're showing up out deeper, mentioned about the 100 fathom curve, and out farther there's like Nueces Dome, Colt. Or if you have the range, you go out to the floater rigs like Hoover, Perdido, that's definitely out far. This looks like a good window for that for an overnight trip out there. Put out a full spread. Definitely love the Islanders. I've been saying all year long, rigged up with some ballyhoo on there. Also some mid-range lures, your chuggers and plungers, and on the flat lines there. And so the weekend looks excellent. This is the best week. We've been blowing for a while. This is going to be a great weekend, so definitely get out there and take your family out there and have some good time get some blue water action. We got a picture of a nice release here. Actually, the marlin got a good jumping and stuff like that, but a 60 deep out of Port A.
Nice. Cool. All right, bud. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the shallow sport hotspots from the lower coast region. He says inshore, Corpus Christi Bay has been producing good numbers of trout around the wellheads, with redfish, drum, mackerel, and tarpon around those jetties. And then offshore, snapper fishing has been excellent with pelagics out deep in the 100 fathom curve and further out.
On top water.
On top water in 150 feet of water.
I want to do that.
Okay, let's go.
All right, up next is our lower fresh region guide, Matt Reed, with plenty of water to get you on a fish or 10 on Lake Travis, Belton, Decker, and Falcon, and so much more. Tell us what our weekend holds in store for the ladies and gentlemen, Matt.
All right, let's get this thing started. You know, we're going to talk about the ladies and fishing. Ladies, don't hesitate to book a trip and come. Come with your significant other. Come by yourself. It doesn't matter. Don't be apprehensive about getting out on the lake. You know, I'll cater a trip to your fishing ability, and we'll have a blast. You know, from the knowledgeable angler all the way down to the beginner. You know, we'll make it where you catch some fish, and just don't hesitate to do it. You know, there's bass, crappie, white bass. All of that's readily available, and it's just a blast. So just step out there, even if you've never done it. Just step out there and get on the water and have some fun. Let's move on down to my lovely largemouth bass, which, you know, I tend to talk about a whole lot. Let's start out in that Austin area at Lake Travis. Fishing's been good. Schoolies are hit and miss these days. There's not as many as there have been. If they're on, you need to throw a jig and spoon or a small swim bait to catch some good ones. Afterward, go deep using a Texas rig or you know, a football jig out on the humps in 20 to 35 feet of water. The slower you can fish it, the better. That's the best way to catch a big one at Travis right now. Lake Belton, it's also been a little hit or miss in the mornings lately. So catching some nice smallmouth and largemouth using deep cranks and flukes in a bluff around the bluffs and deep humps, and that's even 10 to 40 feet of water. You know, chase those fish in the morning, and later on you want to switch up to jigs and shake your head, flipping and even swimming the bait through the deep trees on the main lake. That's the best way to catch those bigger fish on up later in the day. Lake Decker, still producing very well, catching lots of chunks in that on 4 to 5 inch stick base near the reeds and out on the outside edge of the grass. Also, you can throw a frog early in the morning against those cattails, and that's a great way to get you a big bite. Kind of stepping on out way west with a report from O.H. Ivy. O.H. Ivy's caught water this year. Fishing's been really good. The black bass are good in the mornings around the shallow flooded brush on walking top waters, poppers, and swim jigs. The bigger fish have been a little hard to come by shallow. Most of them have come out in the 25 to 30 foot of water on jigs, Carolina rigs, and spoons. Get out to O.H. Ivy. If you're out in West Texas, it's been down for a while, but the fishing has been really good out there again this year. Moving down to my stepchild on Old Falcon Lake, the bass are biting really well. You need to concentrate on the rock structure. They can be caught shallow on rock, on a square bill crankbait around those old house rock piles. The deeper rock ledges and humps producing on crankbaits and Carolina rigs. It's hot down there in the summer, but so is the fishing. That's really my favorite time of year. Got me a bass picture here, concentrating on that topic of ladies. It's Kathy Pavlicek with a great old big falcon special she caught with me just not too long ago.
All right, nice. What else you got for us this week, Matt?
I got some alligator gar, Ram Reyes with Texas Kings Outdoors. The river's been really low right now, but the bow fishing for alligator gar has been exceptional with the low water and the high temperatures. Also, there's a lot of gar being caught on rod and reels with hand-sized perch or cut carp. You fish on the bottom during the day and suspended at night. Lots of those giant alligators in Lake Falcon. Got a picture there again with a lady topic of her with a great big alligator gar laying across her lap. Those are just amazing fish.
Yeah, they are. That's some really cool stuff. Thanks for all the pictures this week, Matt. Looking forward to talking to you again next week. And it's time to look at the lower fresh hotspots from the lower fresh region. He says Falcon Lake bass are in their summer feed. Concentrate on rock structure. Throw square bill crankbaits on the shallow areas and deeper cranks in Carolina rigs in 12 to 20 foot range, and get ready to catch numbers and some of the biggest fish of the year. See, that's what got me when I was reading his hot spots before the show.
The biggest fish of the year. And the ladies are catching them too.
I know.
Slaying them. All right, coming up next on the Texas Insider Fishing Report Ladies Edition, we're casting into the Star-Tron Middle Fresh region and seeing what the holiday weekend will bring us. Plus, we're seeing what Dave Farrell has for us over at the workbench for rigs and techniques. What are we doing, Dave?
We're talking about the ladies again, and we're talking about them in front of them and not behind their backs like we usually do.
Well, that's sweet of you. We'll be back with Front Talking.
Front talk.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Garmin, join the club. Sportsman's Adventures, fishing for adventure. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats, eat, sleep, fish.
Reliability. Yamaha is known for it. And it's something boaters value, because these days, few things are built to last. When we find something that is, we hold on to friendships, traditions, outboards. Because every second on the water is sacred. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters choose Yamaha for the long run, for life. Because reliability starts here.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
For the Bay and beyond, team up with the best and rule the Bay in a Skeeter. Proven with 19 consecutive NMMA Consumer Satisfaction Awards. And right now, through June 20th, you can save with summer sizzling rebates of up to $2,500. Versatility, control, performance, and design. Visit your local Skeeter dealer or online at SkeeterBoats.com. Skeeter, it's more than a boat, it's a lifestyle.
Have you ever felt your heart pounding while feeling the power of a tarpon in the Florida Keys? Or experienced the changing colors of a mahi as you bring it on board? Whether it's in the Bahamas, the Florida Keys, Guatemala, or the Florida Everglades, Murphy's Law Sports Fishing has the ability to guide you to the fish of a lifetime. To book your trip today, call 305-246-0673 or go to murphyslawsportfishing.com. You know, Dave, we're here at the workbench, and rigs and techniques is what we cover, but I thought it would really be cool to talk about ladies and how they get exposed from the intermediate level to the beginner to even the professionals.
Right. Well, I'm kind of the thinking that women have zero disadvantage when it comes to fishing. As a matter of fact, I think they're a lot of times better at it than most of the guys that I try to teach how to do it.
Agreed.
For the first time. And that's mainly just because they don't come into it with any preconceived notions. Usually they're usually really willing to learn and are receptive to what I tell them.
Yeah.
A lot of guys think they know everything already. You try to teach them stuff, they go, I don't want to hear it. Let me go ahead and break this off myself, or
the macho-ness gets in the way.
It's hard for a dude to listen to another dude sometimes, just as it's sometimes hard for a wife to listen to a husband.
Correct.
And vice versa.
Correct.
I say that a lot of the girls that I was teaching how to fish weren't my wife.
Correct.
And because for some reason, the longer you're with someone, the less they want to hear from you. And especially when it comes to when you're trying to tell them how to do something. No matter, my wife's an expert at what she does for a living, and I'm pretty good at what I do, but she don't want to hear me tell her what I know. She'd rather hear it from the young maid over there who's more handsome and probably has sweeter breath than me. I don't know what it is.
Of course.
But
it's his tone, his sweetness, his sweet
I'm
tone.
not that guy. I'm not the husband. I'm the husband, so she doesn't want to listen. But if you go into it with a lot of willingness to learn and want to learn, which is how most women do, then you're gonna do just fine. Don't be discouraged. Don't let some guy tell you that you can't do it, because you can do anything. Women can do anything, and they can certainly do this. This is not rocket science. It's way more finesse than it is strength. A lot of guys think there's a lot of strength to it, but it's really more technique and willingness to learn than anything.
You want to talk about that technique for a second?
Sure, we can do that. When you're out there trying to horse a big fish in, that's exactly what you don't want to do, is horse a big fish in. No, none of these really big fish that we catch you can pull to the boat with just by doing curls. You have to use some technique like Rick's going to show you here.
So the one thing that I want to tell you, whether you're a lady angler or a man, young kid, whatever it may be, as a guy, Dave, one of the things we practice is we try to form what I call the triangle. You remember how many times people will complain when they're pulling on the fish with the rod, or they put this under here or down in their belly. If you can put the rod butt down here around your hip bone, around your belt, for you guys, it will keep the belt will keep it from slipping up. Right. But you form a triangle, now you can use your body weight. If you'll grab the tip of that rod, watch how simple this is, guys. I can really pull, and I'm using my weight. You see this triangle that we've formed here? That allows us to really pull on the fish. Yeah. So in a spinning rod situation,
it's kind of the same way when you're in a chair. What's making him not have to work his bicep is he's keeping his arm straight.
Correct.
And it's the same way with your legs in a chair. Once you get your legs straightened out and you got a bend in the rod, then all you're doing is leaning forward and letting the fish pull you up and back. And then you're doing the same thing with him, just leaning forward and leaning back.
And remember,
he's got the triangle.
Remember this, guys. If you grab it here, now look what happened just to my arm position. So put your arm on the the forward grip, so that you can have the straight arm. Listen, this thing's made to you. A guy with a longer arm can come out here. I have short arms, obviously, so I just usually go right here in front of the reel. The other thing that you can do, guys, as you become a little bit more advanced and you start to understand how the reels work, then you can simply add a little extra drag by what we call palming the spool. And it's real simple. You're gonna pump the rod up, and as you drop the rod, you wanna reel the reel handle, reel on the way down. Pump up, wind on the way down. Pump up, wind on the way down. And if you can get into that rhythm, even if it's a conventional rod, that's the way you're gonna be able to catch a fish. And it's gonna work it's a very elementary way of catching the fish.
Yeah, if you have a problem with your upper body strength, you can always get a really light shoulder harness, and a nice belt from Avco, and a shoulder harness goes a long way. It's even for fellas, after a while you get tired. If you're on a big fish that's sustained, a shoulder harness is not something to be ashamed of. Grab it and catch the fish and go get another fish. We want to catch as many as we can during the day, and that shoulder harness allows you to catch them faster.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. What do you think, Brie? Did we cover it?
You did. That triangle tip has saved me in many a fights.
And I know I know that at the Miami Boat Show this year, you taught some of the other girls that came from all over the country.
I did.
That trick.
Yep, and it saved her fight too. She caught a nice sailfish.
Good for you.
All right, there are so many ways for the ladies to get involved in fishing all over this great state of Texas. So let's hear from our StarTron Middle Fresh Region guide, Matt Loescher, on the subject. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Brie. Yeah, I'm going to start off with the ladies segment today. Tell you about a few ways they can get involved in the fishing world. Middle Fresh Region has a ton of great opportunities. One thing is that there's just great lakes all over it. So there's lots of places to go fish if you want to just go fishing. And then there's a lot of events for the ladies to take part in. There's couples tournaments if you would like to try that. Or if you want to leave the husband at home, there's ladies only tournaments. As I mentioned in the seasons past, the Lady Bass Anglers Association is really a standout in that department. They host women's bass tournaments all over the country, but sometimes they'll have a tournament in the Middle Fresh region. And some of the women are from that region, so they get together and fish. And you can join their association as a boater or a non-boater. So regardless of your skill level or what kind of equipment you have, you can go fish with some awesome ladies who are crazy about bass fishing. They're just great people. If you would like to see a tournament come to your home lake, you can also contact them about that and maybe get them to your area for a tournament. And all their info can be found at ladybassanglers.com. So they have a great website. It's really informative, so check that out. Now, if tournament fishing is not your thing and you just want to go fishing or learn more about it, there's lots of guides that can help you with that. We take a lot of ladies fishing at Living the Dream Guide Service here around Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. So if you'd like to book a trip with any of our crew, just go to ltd.fish and you can find all the info there for that. And I'm going to round out the ladies segment with a photo of a lady who I've come to know is the crappie queen, Miss Cheryl Dorman. She's fished with me a ton, catching these crappie, and she's gotten really good at it, so it's really fun to watch her catch them. She's caught so many big crappie with me over the years, and just can't wait to catch a bunch more with her in the future. So it's a lot of fun doing that. So really enjoy her. Speaking of crappie, I'm going to start out with them moving into my weekly report because they've been kind of the hottest topic around, especially on Toledo Bend lately. But the bite has slowed down a little bit this week, though. We're still catching pretty high numbers, but we're having to fish a little harder to do it. I'm going to blame that on the weather. There's been a lot of cloud cover lately and some heavy rains last week, had the water rising for a few days. Both of those factors tend to spread out the bigger schools of crappie. So hopefully when things stabilize and maybe some of this dust gets out of the air and whatnot, things will get a little better. We're still catching them around standing timber, same places, just not catching as many on each spot. We're catching them in about 15 out to about 30 foot of water, and live minnows tend to be the best with the tougher bites. Now for the bass, they just seem to be jumping in the boat at Sam Rayburn. As we continue deeper into the summer, tournament results remain excellent. It's just unbelievable how they're catching them over there. There's lots of big fish and lots of numbers. At this point, most of the bigger fish, let's say your fish over 4 or 5 pounds, are being caught offshore. However, it does seem to be kind of a struggle for numbers from what I'm hearing. So many of the fish are still being caught shallow, as far as the numbers go. And so many of these 5-fish tournament weights that are in that 15 to 20 pound range are still coming from the grass up shallow as well, mostly on frogs. Now, offshore, the Carolina rig and the crankbait are kind of the ticket, but it's a hero or zero kind of deal fishing out there right now based on the reports I'm getting, so keep that in mind. Now, over on Toledo Bend, the bass are cooperating really well offshore. Our shallow bite has kind of died off, and the offshore bite has taken over. With the water level holding pretty stable and water temps hanging in the low 80s, things are just prime for an aggressive offshore bite. So look to points and ledges in about 15 to 20 foot of water with lots of shad around for the most activity. And you're going to want to throw crankbaits, Texas rigs, and Carolina rigs. Those are all good. Basically, your offshore staples is what you want to stick to. Down on LBJ, my good buddy Jared Poole says that his catch numbers are actually picking up this week, and he's catching his fish on a Magnum shaky head, so a big heavy shaky head rigged with a big worm, so a big bait, and he's doing that around rock piles in about 15 foot of water. He also mentioned that the early morning topwater bite is pretty fair, so if you want to get out there early and do that. Got another photo here for you real quick of one of Jared's clients with a pretty LBJ bass there.
Nice.
And then lastly, I'm going to talk about a species that I don't touch on very often, but Jared also mentioned that the striper bite is really great on Lake Buchanan right now. And it's happening on everybody's favorite, the topwater stuff. So the topwater baits are where it's at. He said that it is an early morning and a late evening deal, so that first and that last hour of the day is the time to go get them. He said they're hanging out around the dam, so you're going to want to go to that bottom end of the lake to find them.
All right, Bud, thank you. Great report from the Startron Middle Fresh region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. He says the crappie are in 15 to 30 feet on Toledo Bend. The bass from the surface to deep. Stripers are biting topwater baits at the dam on Lake Buchanan, Brie.
All right, Texans, if you're hitting the beaches and beyond this weekend, stay hooked because we're running to the Fish Bites Upper Coast and Alvy Reel's Middle Coast region next. But first, remember, if you want to stay up to date on all things fishing in Texas, head over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube page, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, always in the game. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Alvy Reels, a better way to fish. And Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Why is Casa Vieja Lodge on everyone's bucket list?
Left teaser, left flat as well, 2 fish. They're everywhere. Right flat teaser as well. Left flat, right flat teaser.
Come to Casa Vieja Lodge and check it off your list.
Finding a shoreline is easy. Finding a sure thing is not. For over 20 years, anglers from Kitty Hawk to California and every shore in between have come to know one thing: that nothing says no to fish bites. So just stop with the fishing and get busy with the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures or visit fishbites.com.
Today's Power Pull tip is about the new Power Pull Charge power management station. The cool thing about the Charge is it replaces 3 systems on your boat. It replaces your traditional 3 or 4 bank battery charger, so when you're at the house, you plug it into the wall. The PowerPole Charge is going to optimize and balance your batteries like nothing ever out there. It also replaces your on-the-run charger, so anytime you've got the Yamaha running, it's going to replace the power in your trolling motor batteries and your cranking batteries all day while you're running from spot to spot. And the third thing it does, it's got an emergency start feature in it. So if you're ever out there and your cranking battery dies and you can't get the motor started, go to the Sea Monster app, transfer the power, and you're good to go. Get back to the dock. For any more information about the PowerPole Charge, you can go to powerpole.com or stop by one of your local dealers. That's your PowerPole tip.
All right, welcome back. The Fish Bites Upper Coast region is full of talented lady anglers and plenty of fish for everyone to catch. So let's listen to our resident expert, Captain Carl Weston. Talk to us, Carl.
Hey guys, I guess we're going to talk a lot about lady anglers today. So as we troll through summer, there are a lot of inshore ladies tournaments here in the Upper Coast every year. I didn't really want to go out and name any at this time because we've had some cancellations and some rescheduling. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of thunderstorms, so some things have been changed. So if you're interested, just please check with your local tournament directors for all the updated info. And ladies, as far as these trout spots go, the oyster reefs in Galveston Bay are still producing great fish in both size and numbers. The river and runoffs have been pushing a large amount of rainwater into the bays recently, creating muddy colored water, making it kind of look like your yesterday's coffee. So light colored lures like white and lime green are going to be a great option in this type of water. Live shrimp on a popping cork is still your live bait choice, but don't leave the dock without your scented fish bites, because when the water is dirty like this, live or scented baits will always outfish any other baits in your tackle box. And we have a young lady with a nice trout here today.
Nice. All right, Carl, what else you got for us inshore this week?
Well, redfish. Moving forward, as we spoke about the ladies tournaments, the season here in the Upper Coast, most of these are a 2 to 3 fish tournament, Rick. They have a possible stringer that consists of 1 trout, usually 1 redfish and 1 flounder, and the heaviest weight of all 3 fish is usually the winning combination in these tournaments. So this week, let's look out front at the reds running the beach and the jetties for some larger fish. These fish are chasing big schools of shad and mullet right now, looking for their next meal. So when you're leaving the mouth of the jetties, look for the birds working on these schools of bait fish. Always take a look at your Garmin bottom machine as you're working the edge of these bait schools too. You're going to be looking for fish marking near the bottom. These bigger reds will be mixed in with the bait schools a lot of times. And now, so this would be a great place for you to anchor up and start casting top water. Once you've anchored in a place like this, another good technique is to toss out a chum bite, a chum bag. And fish bites actually makes a pretty neat one where your hands don't get nasty and smelly. You can toss in a chum bag and let it drift out back. And this method will usually pay off in catching some larger fish. So as your chum slick grows, it'll bring these fish closer to the boat. At this time, drift a free line back in the slick with a hole or live dead shad. You may also want to try a few rods with light bait set down near the bottom. It's a lot of fun to use lighter weight tackle on these fish. It makes for some interesting fights. We have a picture of a lady with a nice stringer of fish today.
Nice.
Cute.
All right, let's go offshore, bub.
All right, running offshore, we'd want to give a shout out to all the lady anglers who fish offshore. And it seems every year I see more and more ladies out there fishing. And it also seems that they outfish everybody on the boat when they do. I speak from first-hand experience with my fishing partner. So this warm weather has been pushing a lot more pelagics closer inshore this month. We have some Spanish mackerel, Jack Crevalle, running bait down the beachfront. Out a little deeper, around most of the underwater structure, we're starting to catch ling and dorado pretty consistently. And in the 30 to 40 mile range, there's some pretty nice current breaks right now. These breaks have some scattered weeds in them and a few larger grass mats, which are hiding some pretty big schools of small bait. And this is where you want to catch some of your bait. Use a small spoon, or I use a smaller R&R tackle sabiki rig. And, talking about the fish picking up, it won't be long until shrimp season starts. And this is going to bring an added action to an already hot offshore bite. So always have your pitch rod ready this time of year, rigged and ready. 2 would even be better than 1. I'd rig 1 with, say, a 3-foot piece of diamond fluorocarbon with an eagle claw live bait hook on it. My second, I would rig with a simple jig or a topwater lure of your choice. And here's my fishing partner, I guess out fishing me again, hooked up on another big one.
Man, she looks like she's pretty serious, the old Tosh there. All right, one more to go. What do you got?
Back to targeting kingfish again this week because it's been so hot. And I would say when you're leaving, remember to be rigged. You leave the dock. First off, you don't want to miss an opportunity just because you weren't ready. Trust me, I've been there. It's not fun. I like to have rods rigged a few different ways. Let's say 2 rigged for live bait, 2 for trolling, at least 1 set for casting topwater lure, like maybe a 5-inch silver spoon or a medium deep diver. Also, a pair of binoculars is paramount too. It makes life a lot easier spotting the birds offshore. And as you know, spotting the birds a lot of times is where you find your fish. Kingfish are very opportunistic and rarely pass up on a school of bait fish. It makes, they use their great speed and sharp teeth as they slash through these baits. So wire leaders are a must for these fish. These teeth will cut through mono and braid like it's not even there. So do not forget to add at least, I add about a 12-inch piece of wire in front of my casting lures too, so just so they don't get clipped off. And as you bump troll the structure, watch your bottom machine, your proper depth. And the little hit, kick your motor in and out of gear, you can let your bait sink where you need to be, and you'll say, what's the proper depth? Well, when a kingfish hits and the reel screams, you'll know you're there. And we have a picture today of Ashley and Chris with a nice smoker king.
All right, thank you so much, Carl. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots from the Upper Coast region. He says inshore, trout throwing live shrimp on a popping cork over the oyster reefs in East and West Galveston Bay. And then offshore, mixed bag fishing with the current breaks and weed lines 30 to 40 miles offshore with live bait or a topwater lure, Brie.
Okay, let's drift down into the Alvey Reels Middle Coast region with Captain Bink Grimes to see how the lady anglers are faring and how we're celebrating this 4th of July weekend. Hey, Bink.
You there, Bink?
You there?
Well, while we try to get him on the phone, we'll go ahead and start reading his report. So Bink says, Brie, that it's been a grind, so to say the least, for the last half of June and now July. But there's always hope, and hopefully the July will be ushering some light winds because of the winds that have been blowing. Occasionally the northern flow that flattens the Gulf and greens it up. It hasn't just been there because of how windy it's been. And then around Palacios, the boaters anchoring on the barge and the sunken shrimp boat have scored easy limits of trout. And what they've done with those trout is they're catching them under a 4-foot cork. The reefs of Palacio Point and Hotel Point are holding good trout as well. Bink, I'm talking about East Matagorda Bay now in your report if you want to pick it up from there, bud.
Yeah, man, drifters, it's been good on bass assassins, the little johns, and then on those shrimp underneath the mid-coast cork, like you said, about 4 foot. Then those reefs in the middle of the bay, long reef, 3 beak and half moon, and barefoot, they've been good on live bait as well. There's lots of trout in the ICW right now. Best catches that come around the reef on the north shoreline on the incoming tide. Those big trout are staging in that deeper, cooler water. It's 20 foot of water. Then it comes up to about 2 to 5, and they're coming on and off that flat with a mullet. Then in West Matagorda Bay, those lure guys, they've been finding a lot of fish on that sand and grass. On sheep pups and bass assassins, live baiter guys are getting up on the grass and throwing shrimp at those trout. Then in Freeport, the ICW there is holding lots of trout on live shrimp. So those walking the nearby rocks are tossing top waters early, and they're catching fish tight to the granite. Port O'Connor, guide Lynn Smith said Pascavallo has been good for easy limits on top waters and soft plastic. Protected shorelines like the cedars and city slickers have done well. Rockport, is the same with top waters on waist-deep water, then soft plastics later on. They're falling off, and you're going to chest-deep water and tossing as far as they can and working bass assassins back real slow and getting that good bite. There's a photo there of East Matagorda Bay trout. They just keep giving up big trout in East Matagorda Bay. Even when the water's off color, we've been dealing with southwest winds, but we're still getting usually at least 1 or 2 big bites a day.
Tell me about the redfish, bub.
Yeah, Fort O'Connor, mouth of the lake, falling tides, been best for redfish. The jetties holding both slot and bull redfish, working the channel side. Albert Garrison said he's catching trout, good reds on the better tides there around Twin Islands in the Blue Hole. Same with Brett Sweeney. He's been finding limits on mullet. Then they're working the boggy lakes just off the ICW and finding a good fish in Lake Austin on those muddy shorelines and at Brown Cedar Flats as well. Offshore kingfish, Michael Quebec said they're everywhere around structure, just trolling. Same on Freeport from Mike Siegel. Many of those fish have been hitting sardines within sight of the beach. They're coming closer to the beach, and pretty soon our Gulf shrimp season will open up July the 15th, and you'll be able to get all those kingfish behind those shrimp boats while they're culling. Red snapper is still everywhere from Freeport to Port Aransas. Just drop a squid or sardine down at about 40 to 80 foot of water, and you're going to get bit over some kind of structure. A lot of those fish have been in the 12 to 15 pound range.
All right,
thank you. Good.
Thank you so much, Big, for picking up where I left off. It's time to take a look at the hot spots from the Middle Coast Alvey region. He says trout are good in the Mid-Bay reefs in East Bay while waiting with sheep pups and bass assassins, and the redfish action has been good in Oyster Lake on live shrimp under a Mid-Coast popping cork.
Seamless transition. I love it. Coming up next on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, we're getting our red, white, and blue on in the Upper Fresh region. But first, we're seeing, if any, what red, white, and blue Dave has for us for new products at the workbench.
It must be his shorts.
Dave,
His shorts.
I see some blue, but I mostly see orange.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I'm the pumpkin today.
You are.
But
You're celebrating.
now, one of these we're going to give to Brie for her birthday.
Oh, which one is it?
Which could it be?
Which could it be?
I don't
Let's
know.
see for Brie.
I could be lying.
You're probably lying.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a MirrOlure. Diamond Fishing Products. Our reputation is on the line. And StarTron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems.
At the pinnacle of super high output, 4-stroke outboard performance, you'll find Yamaha VMAX SHO. Yamaha's game-changing SHO technology. From exhilarating V6 models to the sleek inline 4s, there's a VMAX SHO for everything from bass to bonefish. It's an extended family of 4-strokes engineered for lightweight, inspiring performance, and rock-solid reliability. Discover VMAX SHO and elevate your expectations.
The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvey reels are manufactured using the most reliable components. Alvey's state-of-the-art drag and retrieve rates are perfect for any fishing challenge. So whether it's a side cast or spinning reel, Alvey makes a reel that best fits your needs. Alvey reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvey also comes with up to a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alveus.com.
Well, Dave, it's time for new products here at the Workbench. So what do we got, bud?
Well, we're gonna start off with some mirror lures down there. We got the mirror lure suspending crankbait. You know, we talk about those other ones all the time, the She Pup and the Top Dog and Top Dog Junior. But this is a new suspending bait, and just want to let people know that it's not all top waters and Mirodines that they have. You know, this is a suspending bait. It'd be great when you're fishing in shallow water and you've got a grass top and between the surface, and you want something that'll work that area between the top and the bottom. You know, and that one will do a really good job. Yeah,
I like the way this looks.
Yep, it's it's got the realistic swimming action, sonic rattle in there. You know, it's 3 3/4 inches long. It weighs about a ½ ounce. So you can cast it a long way. It's got nice, really sharp, big hooks on it, so you won't have to change them out.
Yeah.
And it's a mirror lure. You know,
yeah.
They make good stuff.
They make
got
great
the 3D eyes on there and everything. So get out there and get you a mirror lure suspending crankbait, because now you don't have to worry about the ones on the bottom or the top.
Okay.
The ones in the middle. All right, next we have the Danco 6.5-inch pliers. These are aluminum pliers made out of T6 6061 aluminum. These are the Angler series. The cheapest pliers you can get from them, I think you can get those for like $10 at an Academy,
right.
Which is unreal for how good these pliers are. They have the really nice cutters that are replaceable. The corrosion-resistant anodized coating on there. They got the no-fail cutters on there that can be replaced as well. They weigh next to nothing, like 2.9 ounces, and they come in 4 or 5 different colors.
Yeah,
so.
And they're really inexpensive.
If you buy those, they're like $10.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay.
DancoPliers.com. You can go get those. All right. Next here we have some Eagle Claw ball head jigs made for the salt water. These come in 4 different colors: white, black, chartreuse, and red. Come in different size hooks, a 1/0 or a 2/0. I think that's a 1/0 hook there.
Right.
They come in also 1/8 or 1/4 ounce sizes and packs of 10 like that. Really nice long shank on the hook, which I like. It gets the hook further back. Don't get those guys coming up and taking your baits off and getting away with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a nice bait keeper on there, 3D eyes, painted eyes, really good paint. So Eagle Claw ball head jigs made for saltwater.
Good job, guys.
And last but not least, we have Tsunami Pro holographic swim baits. If you're wanting an easy thing that you can just give a child or even one of your buddies who's not that good at fishing and really want them to catch a fish, these are like a search bait, and they have a little paddle tail on them, and you just throw these things out and reel them back to you. They come in a lot of really nice colors with a 3D in there. They're 4-piece packs, natural swimming action again. Just toss them out and wind them back to the boat. And you can catch all kinds of stuff with those things. They will
open this up and take a look, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got the little 3D eyes on.
Wanted to see if it was impregnated with anisette.
I don't think it has any stink on it, but
it does have a little bit of a smell, but it's not anisette.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can bounce those on the bottom. You can just let them reel back to you at a regular speed, or and they're great again for anybody to just use.
Nice. So. I like it. Yeah. Well, good job over here, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Good job. I'm liking all of that over there. How about that?
How about
Dave, can I have all of it?
Yeah, well, I've already got your thing picked out.
Oh, okay, good. All right, lakes are the place to be this 4th of July weekend in the upper Fresh region, whether you plan on fishing or not. So let's get Johnny Geist on the line to see how and where we should be celebrating. Go for it, Johnny.
Hey, Brie. Well, this weekend we'll be celebrating that 243rd Independence Day, and I kind of recall many family gatherings here on the 4th of July at my mom and dad's lake house, and this weekend at our house here at Lake Fork, we're going to schedule a lot of family fun, fireworks, and a fish fry, so it's going to be a good one. This week, as everybody's doing, we're reporting on the ladies who like to fish. But I was kind of fortunate to have had a mom who loved to fish, and boy, she instilled in me this passion at an early age. She loved to catch fish, and she was pretty good at it too. So she liked catching all species, and she really loved coming out to Lake Fork and catching these brim, the crappie, and especially the big bass. Got a picture here of my mom and me fishing a tournament with a nice catch of bass. Hey, she's only 80 years old here, and I think she boated like 18 of those keepers that day herself. So I got a lady there fishing that got me in it right there.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us tonight, Johnny. What else you got for us?
Hey, here's the crappie on Lake Fork, man. I mentioned Lake Fork crappie guide of Terry Moon many times already on the Upper Fresh Report. And when I think about the ladies who like to fish, I instantly think about Terry and all the pictures and Facebook posts she has on her guided trips. About every morning when I launch a boat, I see Terry back into the ramp. She's launching her Skeeter Solera boat, getting ready to meet her customers too. And man, she's got some loyal customer base because that lady works hard and she puts her customers on some big crappie. Each year she puts out some fresh brush piles and she freshes up the old ones, so works hard and she's got plenty of productive areas to fish. Terry's been a successful full-time crappie guide for a long time, and she was very much in demand even before the Garmin Live Scope technology came along. But she probably didn't need to get one, but she went ahead and got that Live Scope because she realized how much fun it is for the customers to watch catching crappie and watch them swim around the brush piles. So like me, Terry's having a ball showing customers how to locate and catch the crappie with the Live Scope. And it's so much fun watching how the crappie, they react to the jigs and minnows each day, and some days just how finicky they can be, and just seeing that happen. Learning how the schools of crappie position on the brush piles and in the standing timber, nothing more valuable to a crappie guide or an angler. You can see just where to position the boat when you set up on the piles. You know what it takes to get a bite then, and it really helps determine the exact depth you need to fish, most importantly. Terry has many lady customers who bring their friends and daughters out for crappie fishing, and they usually catch pretty much a limit of crappie each time. So if any of our viewers want to catch some big crappie, you might give Terry a call. Here's got a picture of Terry shared this week with a 2-pound crappie. Lake Fork's full of those this size. All right, the next species I want to cover real quick is the world-famous channel catfish here on Lake Fork. It's got a great population. Some people, they like to go fishing. Some people like to go catching. Well, if catching's more your style, I suggest you target these channel catfish here on Fork. And one of my good guide friends on Fork is Bayou Dave Longry, and he is for sure a real catching guide. So, old Dave, he targets these large schools of channel catfish, and he usually puts his customers on limits tasty catfish every day. Dave, he can fish up to 6 people on his pontoon boat, and everyone gets in on the action. He keeps several active catfish holes all baited up using cattle cubes, and there are just hundreds, if not thousands, of fat catfish feeding regularly on every one of his baited spots. So Dave usually puts out about a 50-pound bag on each baited spot several days before he plans to fish that hole, and when it arrives to the spot on fishing day, he anchors down, he chums that area with a few handfuls of cubes, and man, the catfish show up and the feed is on. Dave baits his customers' hooks with a punch bait he makes himself. You know, punch baits, that's usually a mixture of some kind of cheese bait, real stinky stuff, and you actually just punch a hook down in the bait with a stick or a fork, pull it out with a fishing line, and it sticks to that treble hook. And man, when that hook gets to the bottom, you've got a catfish on about every time. Limit on the catfish in Texas is 25 per angler. Dave usually limits out each customer, each fisherman that's in the boat. From the time he positions that boat, gets the rods baited, I've watched him. It's only a few minutes until every angler's setting the hook on a feisty catfish. So most of the channel cats on the holes, they run about 2 to 3 pounds, real good eating, but there's some big ones there too. Some of them weighing 8 to 10 pounds. Hey, I got a picture here. Just look how fat this channel cat is. He's been eating a lot of days range cubes. And
a lot of cubes.
I won about 8 pounds this week. So
I'd
like to wish our viewers a happy 4th of July this weekend. Real windy up here lately, so be careful out on the water. Don't pop no firecrackers in your hand, and have a good time. Let's go fishing.
Hey,
Catch
Johnny,
the fish.
I got a question before we go. You know, those guys use those stink baits for those catfish. At the end of the day, how do they get all that smell off the hands? Is there a secret?
I've always said, from the hands. I'm just talking about for his boat. I don't fish downwind from Dave's boat. You know where his boat's at. No, you just use all the soap you can get, but you're going to smell like catfish for a while, Rick.
Okay, that's one thing I guess I don't want to sign up to do. I appreciate it very much. All right, bud, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Upper Fresh region hotspots. Johnny says that Lake Fork, the crappie and the channel catfish are biting great. Use minnows and jigs for crappie in 19 to 24 foot of water. Channel cats have been biting well on pinch baits over the baited holes in 20 to 25 feet of water, and the bass are good on soft plastics.
Well, well, well. Look at what we have here. It must be a birthday. Oh, are you crowning me, Dave? I never thought this would happen.
Yep, crown.
You know how to put that on?
I don't. I got it backwards. Yeah, look at that.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's how the steer's going.
There we go.
Oh, Dave.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I even got candles. Can I blow them out?
Put a sash
Is it
on
ready?
it properly.
Blow them out.
Oh,
So what are you going to do for your birthday weekend?
I will hopefully be on the water somewhere,
Yeah.
enjoying with the fam and casting into my 30s.
And this is what he decided to give you these pink dangles?
You know what?
Yes, I did.
Mia dropped mine into the water. So, along with my Costas. So what else you got for
It's
me?
better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Well, happy
Hey.
birthday, Bree. We want to say happy
Thank you
birthday
so much. Thank
to
you, guys.
Happy 4th of July
Happy 4th
to
of July.
everybody. And happy
Balloons in the
birthday,
shot.
United States of America.